now we have exactly this many
Alright, I'll play for a little more and
This
then
is important because
I've got other stuff I want to do.
Well, actually, this backtrack is
It's
about
too late for me to try doing Ren'Kai stuff, so I suppose it's just fanfiction writing left for me.
This takes us to the single most unique part of the Mundane. While most of the Delta rooms have been pacified at this point in the category development, no cure has been found for the cancer that is the Knights. Your last development plot as it was possible way to enough ammo to kill the two Knights. If you don't want a knife, this means that you have to use a shotgun and pistol without the helmets on. At the same time, before they're able to kill you in one shot. And did I mention that you can only put one heal in your inventory? Yeah, it's stupid. Not to mention the amount of time you have to shoot each edge of the target is random. There's also a bug in the second phase that makes your shot not count sometimes.
Why?
You had to do another. Ilbes 2 is fine and handy if you beat Zero. Killing literally half the whole ones that get there is. And no merchant, you previously had to do that with Flash Raid instead of 2. In essence, things have been rented out live for 2 flashes here. So now it's only as bad as it ever has been. Proceeding through the clock tower like it never happened and across the beam bridge, Neo heads into the coolest room in the whole speedrun. Double Gear. Yeah, this shit is sick, what could I say? This stride is not only cool, but also frees up the magnet to allow for 2 misses. Before this strat was developed, you had exactly enough ammo to walking it out, Leon equips the rocket launcher and prepares for battle. Nowadays, you use the extra rocket you get on 3-3 there's no actual possible without previously, you saved the rocket until the Gauntlet fight coming out and just sat this over for 5 minutes. I'm not kidding. This was the strat. We kicked the store into the elevator. In our defense, there was no waiting over the giant was still having enough ammo for the rest of the game. This changed, however, and saved them, flopping 5
Here they are.
by itself.
I need them both to drop their stuff.
While this may arrange the YouTube commenters, this one is actually not touchless. There's just less of them since most of them actually require having damage. That requires
Good.
a striker. This is probably one of the only times you'll ever get to see this. This is older stuff. You just go out of bounds and zip line and dip in here. You actually have to fight them in a throw. Well, at least one of them. You can dunk the other. For some reason, you can't do one like you did in England, so this strategy had to be developed. Turns out, getting grabbed and shaking it out does the same damage in different games.
Man, you don't want to know something I hate.
One cycle of giant.
I hate that seemingly everything I hate. Everything I love, rather, are things people hate. Or at the very least, that's the case for video games.
Now, for probably the most constant part of the run.
And obviously, I still
While Knights are
I still preach to the choir many times. Like, obviously, I like Zelda and Mario and all those other things everyone else agrees on is great. But if you look at the things I've played, go through my playlist, you'll notice a lot of the games that I play and enjoy playing are games that not a lot of people know, nor do they like it as well. Which sucks, but at the same time makes a lot of sense. A lot of the games that I play oh, I opened that via the true ending, don't I?
take the island or island skip and figure a way to actually typing this warrior.
An example would be dungeon crawlers like this one. I remember the person I watched play Sakura Dungeon for the first time. Because like I said, that's technically like the first dungeon crawler I ever experienced, Sakura Dungeon. I can't fucking believe it's Sakura Dungeon. I should make a let's play of that game one of these days. Since I know the game a lot already, I can do like a challenge run maybe. Maybe perma-naked, assuming that doesn't get me violated by YouTube. I could have praised that better. Actually, you know what? I praised that better than anyone else in this platform has ever done.
Fire nades for inventory, axe, staff, and we're probably gonna need to use
I'm gonna murder you guys.
making our way to the final stretch as we use our last backup shots to make the happening there. Some small adaptations were made for it, and we had to the final boss. This is probably the most different of bosses been yet. You just rocket him in the face.
Yeah, the games I play are typically of a genre that isn't very accessible. Bullet hell and rhythm games appeal to a certain type of audience. Specifically the people that enjoy a challenge and love improving. I wouldn't say fighting games aren't well enjoyed. There's a lot of casual party fighting games like Smash Brothers. Actually, Smash Bros is the only party fighting game. But they are a whole lot more popular.
Running off into the sunset, we don't see his action. Without the help of some student. This whole time, we've just been watching Maya's world record for no progression.
Comparatively, at least, to bullet hell and rhythm games. Osu is like the most popular, just due to how accessible it is. But it's very rare for you to see other rhythm games get mentioned. Friday Night Funkin' got a bit of popularity, but it isn't being talked about that often anymore, so it was more or less just a passing fad, sadly. Which sucks because... No, I am not counting Geometry Dash as a music game, by the way. That game is popular, but that is not a fucking rhythm game. You are conceited. The fact that people can misconceptualize Geometry Dash as a rhythm game just goes to show how unpopular and how not well known the genre of music games as a whole really is. I think I should just attack. Nice, 777. Yeah, bullet hells is the cousin, the very unpopular cousin of the first-person shooting genre. Of the shooter genre. It's a subgenre of the shooter genre that's been around since the beginning of video games. Shooting games are just popular in general. Before third-person games, it was the side-scrolling shooting games that were popular because they were easy to develop and had plenty of ways you could adapt the gameplay, and there are still a lot of shmups that are very good. But nowadays, if someone's gonna make a shooting game, they're going to make it 3D. That's just way more appealing. Yeah, I'm just thinking things. This guy's already dead. Omaiwa Mushindeiru. Just so I can finally have this place mapped. Zodiacs are really strange class. They're powerful, but they're also really selfish. Be it in this mod or in the original. There aren't a lot of ways to boost their damage. They hit really hard, but they use up resources too quickly in order to deal that damage. And there's no way for them to get outside help, apart from maybe bringing in a protector to make sure they don't take damage. Because, you know, they're very frail. Even if you put them in the back and give them the highest defensive armors you can give. Makes it really hard to come up with a team. Early on, their selfish high damage output is really useful. But once you get to the mid game, and especially in the late game, their value kinda dips for me. Obviously, I'm still using Teosar here because although their selfishness is also their strength. You know, you gotta be a team player. Never split the party. Keep the fighter up in front, Hale and Harthy. Or however that freaking shit goes. Yeah. Another reason I think shooting games are the most popular genre, be it the side-scrolling back then and the now more modern first and third person shooters, is just because of how easily understandable the genre can be. And you know, it appeals to the main audience of video games, which are young adult men. Anyone can understand what a gun is and how you can use it. Sadly. Yeah, how come video games have such a specific niche audience? Like you don't hear people talking about, oh, the main audience of movies are adult married peoples, and music is enjoyed by, I don't know. It just goes to show, I think, how young the genre really still is. They're getting way more mainstream, but for the most part, the stigma surrounding video games, as well as the audience that consumes them, is still very, very much growing. Very sad. I mean, hey, look at me. I pretty much fit the bill for the exact audience that video games are supposed to appeal to, apparently. Although I'd say if there were a parallel universe where I was a girl instead, I still probably would have gotten very into video games. I don't think my life would have changed that much. Mom would still try dressing me up and making me look pretty. A difference might be that I might take that more seriously. Being a girl, I don't know, I'm pretty sure. There's no scientific evidence, but based on my experience and what I know, women care more about their looks than men. It's not sexist, it's just a fact I've noticed. Ah, shit. Magic attacks don't count for counter attacks. But other than that, our household had quite a lot of video games for some reason, even though our family is what I'd classify lower middle class. Not exactly poor, but not exactly in the middle class. They're mostly pirated, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my fascination to technology still would have led me to my path of eventually wanting to be a game designer. Or at the very least, I would still be an artist of some kind, even if it might not be video games. So, most of my dreams, aspirations, well, apart from that one time I wanted to be a doctor or a policeman. I don't know. I highly doubt I would have taken an interest in fashion. As well, I would have potentially taken more interest. My interest would still most likely lean more heavily on technology than my own personal looks. I don't see myself being born pretty, as a pretty girl. Just putting it out there. Right, boss fight time. Am I ready? I think I am. This team is good enough. Let's go. Checking the recording real quick. I guess the one thing I really can't be sure of is whether or not I'd become gay if I was a girl. Or if I'd be happy with both my sexuality as well as my preferences. And who knows, maybe I'd still be bisexual in the end. Because my current philosophy is, why limit yourself to just choosing one gender? When love's already hard enough to find as is. So assuming I end up getting that kind of mindset, then yeah, I'd still most likely be bi. Tell that to all the people he ordered you to murder. Me included. Twice now, because this is technically the second time. So if you choose to side with the Deep City, Kujira does still send out a monster after you, which is very confusing to me. Why do they have access to monsters? And why do we only see them get used here? Some kind of secret weapon? How many more of those do they have, and how do they keep them secret? And why would they keep them secret? it's not electricity. Maybe I should have used maybe I should have bought a formaldehyde to get the unique drop. Oh well. Huh. Obviously immune to death and petrification, but this guy actually isn't resistant to every single fucking thing, status ailment in the universe. Right, just in case I have anyone with electricity. Start off with Grease Arms. Oh. Alright, so binding the head would definitely be useful. And cow would be very useful. Anyway, yeah, it really is the opposite. It's the genres that I hate people like, and the genres that I like people don't necessarily like. Yeah, back to the topic of dungeon crawlers. Yeah, they got real confused with the controls of the dungeon crawling game for Sakura Dungeon, because, I mean, if you've ever played a dungeon crawler, they don't make it very easy, especially since the way the visuals are represented make it very confusing, and especially the controls, since it's first-person tank controls, like I said. The only genre that's still in the modern day that still uses that kind of control. I honestly don't see it ever changing, and I really don't want it to change. But yeah, it's hard for that. Yeah, first person and third person shooters. I mean, I'm playing Resident Evil right now with Mum. But that's more of an exception than it is a rule. But yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the genre of shooter games. If you're gonna make me fight up close and personal. Fighting in range should be a sub-option, not the main option. This guy doesn't use physical. I'm not gonna do it anyway still. Ah. Oh, damn. Bind is ignorable. Yeah, this going good. I just need to keep up the pace. It's definitely worth using the Etheric Charge every turn you can before attacking, because the boost makes it all worth it. Especially at this level, it's as if you did 3 attacks in 2 turns instead of, well, 2 attacks in 2 turns. Which I'd say is a pretty worth it deal. Their buffs, their debuffs are gone. So are most of our buffs. Damn. I can still ice you, you fool. That's great. Yeah, we won. Woo. What kind of wounds would Olympia have? Alright, let me get to the next dungeon first. Make save first. Oh, sure. Before I sell everything I have. Report the mission, but don't accept the next mission. Go talk to the eldest one. Alright, I can do that.
Sweet success in Tears of the Kingdom, it's hard not to wonder what the next mainline Zelda game will be. And since the game only released earlier this year, we still don't have a whole lot of knowledge when it comes to the future of the franchise. Luckily, we do have a couple of interviews and other things to talk about when it comes to the future of Zelda. I also think it's worth discussing in this video what the next Zelda game should be, regardless of what we already know. Anyways, since we're going to talk about the future of Zelda, it's best to start with information we already have from the creators of the games. Soon after the release of Tears of the Kingdom, Eiji Aonuma did an interview with Game Informer and talked a little bit about the future.
That's already what I have.
The first important thing he says is that the format for Breath of the Wild is going to be a format the Zelda series proceeds from, and a similar way to how Ocarina of Time created a new format for the previous Zelda games to proceed from. This probably means that future Zelda games are going to follow that completely open-world exploration style that began in Breath of the Wild. It's also highly possible that certain mechanics, like sprinting and climbing walls wherever, will be in future Zelda games, since he specifically mentioned the open play and freedom within Breath of the Wild. I also wouldn't be surprised if they kept the art style the same as well, or at least kept it similar. If this really is a new format for Zelda, in the same way Ocarina of Time was, I'm
Almost
expecting
level
the same
60.
focus on exploration instead of puzzles that Breath of the Wild had.
That's the last
A lot
mission.
of you might disagree, but I'm not a
I'm
huge
not
fan of
taking it, apparently.
puzzles in the old Zelda games. I don't hate them, but I really don't mind that they're gone. The exploration was always the most fun I had with these older Zelda games. Speaking of puzzles, later in the interview it stated that this new style of puzzle solving is also here to stay. Eiji Aonuma says that the rigid puzzle solving in older Zelda games is a past way of developing games. This might mean that the old temples and puzzles in Zelda games aren't ever coming back. Not in the mainline Zelda games at least. The thought process behind this seems to be, cheating is fun, they like it, which is completely understandable. Everyone knows that cheating in every scenario is completely acceptable. Jokes aside, this way of designing a game is exactly why I love Tears of the Kingdom so much. It's not about creating a game where the player does exactly as intended. It's about creating a game that people will enjoy. Being able to cheat might allow players to cheese a puzzle, but as long as the players enjoy cheesing that puzzle, that's all that matters. Let's just say, people who want a rigid and thought-provoking puzzle probably aren't going to enjoy the future Zelda games. So that's what we have from the interview. Seems like the rigid exploration and puzzle solving from the old games is completely abandoned
I'll
now.
go to the Molten Cave
This is
first.
reiterated, since in a completely different interview for Tears of the Kingdom,
Easy enough.
Eiji Aonuma says
I
that
just
they
need
aren't
to
concerned with the old Zelda games
Use
anymore,
Eureka's safe
and
stroll.
prefer to focus on the future.
Eureka's
These
a
interviews
farmer.
are really interesting
Works
to read
surprisingly well.
through, and I suggest reading both of them yourself, even though they aren't entirely focused on the future of Zelda. Now that the interviews are out of the way, it's time to talk about the things we don't know for sure. I think an important question to ask is if the next Zelda game is going to be a direct sequel to Tears of the Kingdom. We know that the gameplay elements and game design
I
are
really
going to
hope
stay
it isn't a
similar,
direct sequel.
but it's never explicitly said if the
Nintendo
next
didn't
game
bother with the
is going
timeline
to
for
be
Zelda
another
because of
sequel
how that
or
limited
not.
their gameplay
Although
opportunities.
it's impossible to say for sure, I think it's safe to say the next Zelda game won't be a sequel to Tears of the Kingdom. They tried their luck with Tears of the Kingdom already, since a lot of people thought it wouldn't live up to Breath of the Wild, myself included. And to be honest, it would become boring to explore the
Hey
same
there.
old Hyrule that we see in both of these games.
No fighting this time? So it is you. I had wondered who would disturb me in this place. I'm surprised you had the stomach to return. Was it your whim to speak with me? How comical. You humans are meat and drink to us. We threaten your entire race, but must it be so? I met a girl once. She spoke to me without fear. I, the eldest one of the deep ones. Is it Gertrude, the princess? Was that the girl? It definitely isn't Olympia. She wouldn't hesitate to try murdering this guy if she were given permission to. I'd wager. I ask you this, children of man. Do you believe it is possible for our two races to live in harmony? I mean, why not? Everyone loves peace. I mean, I know Gil Uriah is thinking with their genitals rather than their brains here. But your women look fancy, you look fly. Anyway, does this choice matter? It just says I should talk. Ah, yeah, I should choose yes. Obviously, I should choose yes. I was planning on saying yes anyway. That was the answer I expected. Perhaps I asked the question in hopes of hearing it. My backpack? I know not where you found it, but that sky bowl you carry was once mine. Oh, sorry? I got it from some guy after he told me a story about some girl and their brother or something. It is a crown which gives form to that which is immaterial. Are you saying it grants wishes? What is more, you have even the starry shard. It seems that you came prepared. I feel like my voice for this guy is changing with every sentence I utter. For him. Wait, what? What are you doing? Cool. Present that to the whimpering princess. Tell her it is 100-year-old gift from me. It will put an end to one of my schemes, but on balance, that is not so bad. Make haste, should the princess encounter the Yggdrasil-possessed king. A tragic end awaits. I know exactly what you're talking about. Not sure if you guys have access to time travel. But yeah. Deliver that offering to the pair, and their fate may take a turn for the better. Children of man, when my powers are again at their height, man will then know true despair. I will brand thy hand. When you have delivered the offering, come to me, for the princess's sake. Is that love? Are you in love? Also, ow. Of course it had to be Mara that got the brand. Frick, I was gonna say something. Ah, right. I actually don't remember how I got Mara's name. Is Mara actually another anagram for a word for love in a different language, or did I actually just name her after the god thing? You'll know what I'm talking about if you know Atlas and Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. So from here, after you meet with the princess, the otherworldly branch will guide you. Alright, I should have known. Couldn't get much more. Whoops. Oh, shit. It's a good thing I have safe stroke. Alright, so I assume I have to talk to... I forgot the old lady's name. We know her name, but like, it's a mouthful. Yeah, I'm thinking of exploring the moon door areas. Path of Absent Reason. B18. What about B17? Eternal Stillness. There isn't any more info, but I mean the game already tells us everything we need to know after the walkthrough tells me what I was supposed to do. So I should also mention that the walkthrough I was using was also from Game Packs for Labyrinth of Galeria. Yeah, and the people in that website is just something else. Making a save. No. The princess. Alright, so it looks like I need to go to the final. Alright, so should I still accept the quest? No, I straight up can't accept it anymore. Interesting. Alright, so threading through old grounds in the porcelain forest is a little boring. Let's see what doors we can open now. There should be one moon door here. Right there. Seems like a big area, huh? Alright, looks like the fastest way there is through the submagnetic hole in the undersea grotto. Let's go. Are there any doors here? Looks like there's one in B6. Oh, Marmor. Doesn't want to bother. Trying to run away. How nice of them. I'll be right back. I want some water.
These games. If they do decide to do a sequel to Tears of the Kingdom, I hope it's about Link exploring some faraway land outside of Hyrule, similar to how Majora's Mask follows Link exploring Termina after the events of Ocarina of Time. It also doesn't seem like a thematically good idea to do a sequel to Tears of the Kingdom. With Ganondorf as the villain, and the final battle being this climactic battle between two immortal dragons, I don't see how Nintendo would be able to make something that beats it. It feels like the biggest battle that this Link has to endure, and it would be pretty crazy if they made something more impactful. This is a good ending to Link and Zelda's story in this universe, and it should be left that way. I think it would make a lot more sense to do a sequel to the most popular Zelda game of all time, Link's crossbow training.
What?
Although we also don't know when the next Zelda game is gonna come out, we can still assume
Alright,
it will be for
been a
another
while since
2
I last
years,
done this.
at the very least. Nintendo
But
is
let's map out
probably
this
gonna
place,
spend
shall
the
we?
next year or two pumping out some DLC for Tears of the Kingdom to keep the fans satisfied. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was more DLC
Ooh, a boss.
than Breath of the Wild. There's potential for DLC like a map expansion, which would certainly take up a lot more time than the DLC in Breath of the Wild. It's also important to remember that
New
the
enemy.
gap between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom
This is actually a kind of a
over
bad team,
6
huh?
years, and Zelda games typically take longer to come out compared to other franchises. They might also release a smaller game or two to keep fans occupied, similar to Age of Calamity. It's hard to say if the next game will take around the same time as Tears of the Kingdom, since there are a lot of things to consider. Tears of the Kingdom had the benefit of a pre-made overworld and pre-existing mechanics, but it also had the downside of needing to change a lot of stuff in order to make the game feel fresh. If I had to take a shot in the dark, I would probably guess that the next big Zelda game will come out in 3 to 5 years. But again, we have
What the
pretty
fuck?
much no information. It's been over a year since I've worked on a Zelda game, and the team refused to give me any info. Those ungrateful bastards. In terms of what a brand new Zelda game
nice
would
one, Alma.
exactly be like, it's impossible to tell. So instead, let's discuss a few things
Venom
that
Fly,
would
aren't
be
those
nice
from
to
the first
have
game?
in a future
Shit.
Zelda game. As mentioned before, hopefully the next game isn't a sequel to Tears of the Kingdom. I wouldn't be mad about it, but I would be a lot less excited compared to if there was a brand new game. Another great addition would be a more unique world. Everyone in the recent games was cool, but it would be nice to play a new Zelda game with more personality, like Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. Nintendo seems way less willing to take chances and do sillier creative things in these new games, or at least it feels that way. For example, there's this side quest in Majora's Mask where you have to protect cows from alien-like creatures who come every year to steal the cows. You might have assumed this was one of my uncommon jokes, but this actually is a real side quest in Majora's Mask. Something as crazy as this feels like it would be completely out of place in the new Zelda games. But it wasn't crazy before, since something wacky and creative wasn't out of the picture in the old Zelda games. I'm not saying that this new world design is bad, it certainly has its place and makes for a great world, but it would be nice to see a new fairy tale-like world in Zelda. We know they plan to continue
let me do
the
the
trend
quest
of
first.
overworld exploration,
It'll be an easy win.
and a more fantasy world would fit perfectly into that
Anyhow.
style of exploring. Imagination truly is an amazing thing. I mean,
It's
just
so
look how
strange
many
that the
people
final
think
challenge
Santa Claus
is a
real,
collection
how
game,
many people think
for depending on
Australia
how you've
is
been
real.
playing the game up till now, might be either the easiest or the hardest final
Something that would
challenge
also be nice is a smaller world, or a smaller
compared
game
to the
in general.
previous two.
It's certainly nice that there's so much content in the new Zelda games, but sometimes I want to sit down and play a smaller game with less to accomplish. Sometimes it feels like there's too much content in certain aspects of Tears of the Kingdom. Like,
Yeah, it definitely feels very
do they
bloated.
really need 1,000 Koroks? Or 130 side quests? A large and high-stakes world definitely fits Tears of the Kingdom, but I don't want a game that's the same as Tears of the Kingdom. I want a new and fun adventure. If I were to summarize all of my biggest hopes for a future Zelda game, it would be nothing more than a unique world, not something based off the old games or the new games. It would be nice to see the new game borrow ideas from both of them, instead of completely stray away like the recent games have. But to be honest, I have absolutely no hope in the Zelda team after Tears of the Kingdom. I think the only thing that would make up for it would be a sequel to Link's Crossbow Training.
The last trainer before the heal. Should have the person punished. Unbelievably clutch. After the heal though, the rest of the gauntlet goes a lot more smoothly. Giovanni is clutched by once again Weezing, who continues to establish himself as the MVP of this run. On to Sabrina. Do you think Future Set's gonna do half? Probably, right? Let's switch. Oh, I didn't really switch to the right Pokemon there, huh? Well, dark time, baby. Okay, this is interesting. I actually need to keep Taylor alive, kind of, huh? Oh yeah, Gustin's weird flying. I'm getting kind of diced up, not gonna lie. He's kind of walls it though. Alright. Let's do this. I'm just losing mons in every single boss fight and every single gauntlet. It's so insane. To get to Blaine, we go through all the water routes and the Seafoam Islands. This is another fairly stress-free gauntlet, despite a restriction that forces you to bring no more than one grass or electric type. Conveniently for me, all my electric types are dead. Woo. Of the 4 encounters between Fuchsia and Cinnabar, 2 are really useful. I nab a Duskull and a Quillfish. Duskull is the real prize.
It's 45 to be a number 1, but I may as well gather as much as I can.
And a great stab move to spam with Shadow Punch. But don't forget about the Quillfish. You might actually make it on the Elite 14 as a barely scuffed counter for Lapras and Dragonite.
Get some cash money, get some
it's a mono-type
moolah,
team with a bad defensive type.
whatever other
one of the easiest fights
slang term
in practice,
there
that's
is.
mostly the case, but I did find one way to lose here. To give some challenge to the Blaine fight, which comes at a point in the game where you can easily just load up on water and rock types, the entire gym is turned into a gauntlet, and you're limited to just 3 Pokemon. The quiz questions are all changed so that no matter what you answer, you have to fight the trainers. On run 3, one of the few in which I tried Paris as the starter, I built my strategy for Blaine around manipulating the AI's response to Vulpix's Flash Fire ability. With only 3 Pokemon, I didn't have the margin for error to get calls like that wrong, and I wiped quickly. That's a mistake I wouldn't be making again.
Seeking has somehow survived the entire run, which makes me especially well positioned for this Blaine fight. He's joined here by Wartortle and Brava. Wartortle's job is to set up Rain Dance and either die or get moored out, allowing Seeking to smack Blaine with boosted water moves. Things didn't go exactly to plan. They actually went better. This Wartortle was an absolute tank, taking out Blaine all by itself with 1 HP just as the final Rain Dance turn ticked away. Before we can head to Viridian and take down Giovanni for the final time, Garbage Green forces you to the Sevi Islands for Rock Smash, which will be necessary to enter Viridian Gym. That's fine by me, as I definitely need to find some better encounters before the Elite Four. All the Poke Centers on the islands are disabled, and you cannot return here after you leave, so you have to fight every trainer here and get all of your encounters without healing. There are 6 encounters along the way with a 26 trainer gauntlet. This is going to be so spooky. Weezing kinda has to perform here. Nice crit, really important. Just can't explode. Easy, easy. Come on, come on, come on. Just a little bit more. Nice, okay. Well, Weezing. God damn, what a poison type. What a performance. Unironically, this is, I think, the last point in the game where he's good, although I think maybe E4. What a performance. Weezing carried this run. He's 100% the MVP of this run. It's not even particularly close. What a champion he has been. There is, however, one massive silver lining. Nice. Finally, I'm rewarded for successfully slogging through mid-game with Onyx and its non-existent attack stat. Even though I miss
my
out
things
on
have actually refreshed, but I can't take advantage of it. That's hilarious. I wasn't paying attention to the time.
Boosted this run's chances of finishing. Against Giovanni, you can see the backbone of what becomes my Elite Four team in action. Tropius picks up some big KOs, Brava helps along the way, and staring down his Nidoking, I show him why Dusclops is so valuable. Will-O-Wisp renders Nidoking useless as it finishes the fight and maintains my perfect record against the 8th gym.
Damn.
Pupitar starts to show its worth against
Whatever.
the reliable outside victory road as well, showing why it was so important to play the Sevi Islands in a way that guaranteed the encounter.
Yeah, Pale Horse. Of course they'd make it to the top rankings, and of course they are actually part of the event. It actually implies they got a good score as well. Back in the previous event, so that's wacky. I'm just gonna get rid of them. I can just buy them easily. Leg Eater, what the hell kind of weapon is that? Yep. A Leg Eater. Alright, let's go. Now, I'm gonna go bring Mara. Miara, I mean. Feels like forever ago since I ran a team with her. Na, na, na. For what slashing, so choices between Iya and Iyusk for me right now. I want Veil Summons to be in the front. Iya just isn't that powerful. And who cares, I guess, about the summons? I'll seldom use them anyway. Shungas! Damn, not bad. Let me max this out. Yeah, action speed, huh? Maybe I should try getting Nympho double on Miara, why not?
Victory Road is buffed so that the trainers all have 5 Pokemon instead of 3, but the level cap for the Elite Four is high enough that I don't have any trouble at all. I don't find anything particularly useful in the few encounters remaining on my way to Indigo Plateau, so I'll be going in with these 6. Seeking has somehow survived the entire run. It has the second highest HP of the team, and a great defensive type in pure water. It'll have to absorb a lot of hits to make this run work. Quillfish is here primarily for Lorelei, as a water type that can absorb her hits and dish out pretty reasonable damage with Revenge, while also being my only reliable Dragonite counter. Pupitar is the biggest physical threat, packing Stab, Rock Slide, and Earthquake. Even though it doesn't get stabbed without evolving into Tyranitar, Crunch still serves as an excellent coverage in addition. Mightyena is the much-needed Dart type to give me a switch in for Agatha's Psychic moves. Mightyena is probably the worst Pokemon on the team in a vacuum, but it brings some pretty unique tools to the table. Taunt is always great utility to have around, and Counter can even find some kills in the right scenario. Tropius has been around for a long time, serving as our flyer. Fly, it turns out, is also one of the best physical attacking moves in Garbage Green. And finally, the Dusclops is there with the usual Shadow Punch, Seismic Toss, and Will-O-Wisp. But the fourth move I go for is Skill Swap. It's my fourth crack at this Elite Four in Champion Gauntlet. The shades are on. Let's do this. Lorelei is just as scary as any other fight here, as aside from
Hidden routes should be visible for me to see, right?
Field berries are running low.
Since this is the first dungeon and they still actually show secrets.
Run 33, the first of the 2 consecutive Elite Four runs, was a display of just how bad the RNG can get in this fight. Ranges were missed, criticals were hit. Sometimes Pokemon games just don't want to let you win, and no fight in Garbage Green has more potential to shut you down with RNG than Lorelei. It's terrifying right from the start. Seeking resists pretty much everything she can throw at me, but if Seeking gets frozen, I'm in huge trouble. Thankfully, it doesn't, and with the Silk Scarf equipped, Seeking is thrown at good damage with max power returns. Returns PP is reduced, so I have to use some horn attacks to help out, but I avoid all the freezes. As she brings in Cloyster, the weather-faced fight begins. Cloyster's only ice move is Tail, so I can safely bring in Tropius. Sunny Day eliminates the Hail Chip and allows us to throw out some more really underwhelming Solar Beams. I guess it's still Garbage Green though. Mightyena is mostly here for Agatha, but it also serves as a nice check for Lorelei Slowbro. A perfect target for its crunches. It gets yawned before it can finish the job though, and things get a little bit more
But
complicated.
they aren't that bad.
I think I'll just take the sleep.
But the Venom Fly seems to deal a shit ton of poison damage, so
Maybe I can.
I'm gonna play it safe still.
Unlucky. I might actually be dead to crit home. Easy. I have to switch out of Jinx anyway, but like this could bait Attract, which would be huge. Oh, Lovely Kiss would be so cringe, man. The only issue is
Hello.
if this gets put to sleep or frozen, I can lose. I could go to Dusclops first, actually, and if Dusclops gets put to sleep, I go to Quillfish. I think that's probably the highest win percent. Yep. I might stay in and try to wake up, burn some sleep turns. I think it's better to burn them here than on Lapras. Alright, time to switch. Don't get frozen.
Too bad battles don't last long enough to justify.
That works. Alright, good luck, Quillfish. Alright, just confuse Ray. Actually, let's not even
A
go to
spider.
Because I don't get the revenge boost.
Here,
I didn't really think this through, did I?
Calamity God. Sure.
Let's think about our options here. We can Revenge again, which is worsened to Confuse Ray. We can Sludge Bomb, which maybe sets up a kill and maybe not. It's range dependent, but it doesn't put him into full restore range. If I hit the Revenge off of an Ice Beam, I might get a kill, but it's also a range. Revenge is 37% to kill. Sludge Bomb should always... 2 Sludge Bombs should always kill, so let's fucking go for it. And it shouldn't put him into full restore range. Don't do it. Oh, that might be full restore range now. Oh, not after Citrus though.
Where the heck is Provoke? Oh my fucking god, I forgot to give Umag
I'm
Provoke!
pretty sure this is a kill. I'm going for it.
Oh, I am just the best
Ding
sometimes.
shit on you! It's not enough to just beat Lorelei. If I wanted a chance at completing the run, one death was probably the most I could have handled. Getting through Deathless is massive, and I'm extremely well positioned for the next 2 fights as well. First, Bruno. Everything goes according to plan. Seeking gets rid of the Onyx right away and gets some damage down on the Hitmonchan before switching out for Tropius. Fly might seem like the obvious call here, but if it doesn't KO, Hitmonchan can swing back with a counter. I can play around this with a Magical Leaf and Fly combination. Now Bruno brings out the Machamp. Machamp is by far the scariest part of the Bruno fight. Thanks to Dusclops' Will-O-Wisp, I usually don't have to worry too much about physical attackers, but Machamp's Guts ability completely nullifies that strategy, because it increases Machamp's damage after the burn instead of reducing it. It's also carrying Rock Tomb to hit Ghost types, so I can't just sit on it with Dusclops. I also can't get too careful with the switches, because if I give it time, it'll stack up Full Cups, and not only will it be threatening KOs, it'll be impossible to take down. But I've got one more trick up my sleeve. How do you actually kill the f***ing Machamp? I think the Machamp is actually a really scary Pokemon here. Does Dusclops get Skill Swap? South of Lavender is Skill Swap? Just Skill Swap.
Got a
Will-O-Wisp, right?
rather large
I think it's Skill
HP
Swap
pool,
plus
huh?
Will-O-Wisp onto Machamp. It's kind of insane. By removing Guts, I can safely burn it, and thankfully, Dusclops nails the Will-O-Wisp. It's not over, as Machamp keeps setting up a scary amount of Full Cups, but Dusclops is able to clear it out. Seeking gets rid of the second Onyx just as easily as the first. Finally, after a battle with my most terrifying opponent yet, counting PP, I managed to stall out the Hitmonlee and close out the first half of the Elite Four, still deathless. I haven't lost any runs to Agatha, but she did major damage on run 34. Her Gengar put me in a position where I had no choice but to sacrifice my Meta-type that made Lorelei such a breeze. This time though, my team was well constructed to handle her. Agatha is Mightyana's time to shine. Obviously, Crunch is a huge threat into most of her team, but Taunt is a massive deal here as well. I immediately use it to shut down her first Gengar and stop her from doing what is known as the Desperate Nuzlocke special, Toxic and Double Team. Pupitar takes out the Golbat for free, Wolf is here to hard counter Agatha's Arbok. The Haunter is Mean Look, Hypnosis, and Curse, so I bring in Tropius. It's the least scary thing to get trapped in, and it has a chest of air to shrug off the Hypnosis. Unfortunately, Fly misses, the Haunter curses, and a second Fly takes it out before Tropius loses too much health. Dusclops finished it off with ease, and it's on to Lance. Lance and a Blue ended both run 10 and 34. Run 10 made it all the way to the champion, but Lance still made his mark. Gyarados shockingly survived a Thunder Punch from Elekid, and he killed it right back with a Hyper Beam. And then, in the course of attempting to wall out Lance's Dragonite, Mawile dropped to an outrage, and so did Cacturne. With only 3 Pokemon left for Blue, it was always going to be tough.
Oh,
Blue's
does
team,
Annihilation
too
not
strong,
count as a buff?
Too high level,
And I've been
Two.
wasting my time on it.
trash. Run 34, the
My
run
bad.
immediately after the horrible RNG loss to Lorelei, was weakened by Agatha, and then brutally ended by Lance's Aerodactyl. This was the first time I had ever had back-to-back Elite Four runs in one of my Nuzlockes, and I'd basically done it in one sitting as well. Never before had I been as close to giving up on a run as I was on attempt 34. Before I play the final fights of attempt 50,
Why?
I'd like to ask you something. When was the last time you really wanted to give up on something but didn't? Why didn't you? And most importantly, was it worth it? We've been here before, guys. Gyarados Intimidate, get rid of that with White Herb. Ensure the Rock Slide 2 would KO. This just needs to stay healthy. It just needs to stay healthy. It just needs to not be in kill range of Aerodactyl. That's all this needs to do. I don't need to save Rock Slides. Easy. Let's go to Tropius first. Let's go to Seeking. Seize his time, come on. Let's do this Silk Scarf should make this a 2 KO. Ooh, fucking worth it. Oh wait, I was supposed to keep this full HP, right? Whoops. Well, you really can't get crit on Quillfish now. Oh my god. How am I throwing again? This is Thunder Wave. I could pivot through Pupitar. I'm pretty sure it's guaranteed to be Thunder Wave. The punish is getting hit with an Outrage on Pupitar. If it gets a crit, I think I might lose again. Let's just go to Mighty now. This turn is also guaranteed Thunder Wave. Quillfish really has to hold, man. It really has to hold. Okay. I think I'm staying in. Hyper Beam always kills. Just Outrage always kills. Alright, Quillfish, time to hold, buddy. It is time to fucking hold on. Quillfish holds! See ya.
Shit.
Thanks for taking the run, Quillfish.
Shit.
We are going to Blue. Look how different this plays out when our Pupitar is actually healthy, man. Oh, baby. Is this run finally over? Let's not call it too early. Please let me finish this game, man. Taunt. Just walking in early so I can't like Feather Dance my Pupitar. Or Whirlwind or something like that. This needs to be pretty healthy. I need it for Arcanine. This is full restore. I think I'll just Rock Slide again. Okay, yeah, that can happen too. No good play around there. Okay, sick. Good job, Pupitar. This is not always Earthquake. This can definitely be Rock Tomb. If it's Rock Tomb, I just stay in. This is definitely slower than me. But taking an Earthquake is actually really scary. Tropius is actually somehow slower than this, reminding us just one more time that we are in fact playing a goddamn trash lock. And Seeking is dead to crit here. Rock Tomb does so much to Tropius too. Is Seeking still faster after Rock Tomb? No, it won't be faster after Rock Tomb either. Don't. Easy. See this, baby. Best starter in the game! I think this is Venusaur, right? No. It's only has Solar Beam as an attacking move. Tropius walls this. This is what we brought Tropius.
That Sabertooth is strong.
There we go. Alright, back to Pupitar. I think I will rest once here. Kill with Crunch to conserve Rock Slide PP. And then it's Gyarados Hydro Pump after this. Although if he starts thrashing, I might just go to Pupitar. So stupid. 3 more. This is a pretty decent spot to sack this. Although it's maybe best on the Arcanine. I definitely wait to see the first thrash before I do anything. Okay, that's fine. Wow. Tropius, you really are one of the Pokemon of all time. Fly's more damage here. Do I want to save Fly PP? Kinda. Synthesis might have been good. I might be good with Thrash now. It doesn't really super matter. I think you saw a kill with it. Nope. Not even close. So, Tropius would actually 1v1
That
this
guy
one
was
with
way
a
too hard.
PP. If I go to Dusclops,
There's
the
no way
Thrash
that
just
was only
ends,
worth that much
which is
XP.
cringe. So we're gonna go to Pupitar here. Although, there is like a thing where we only have one more rest PP, right? And when can we even use it? The Arcanine can still wipe us. Let's stay in. It's a crit.
No way, that's fucking bullshit.
I think I'm dead to the next one if he doesn't 2-turn and get confused. Okay. Although if he gets 2-turn and then just kills me, it's also kind of cringe. Do it, just hit yourself. Lucky. He's locked in now.
Yeah, holy shit.
Pretty sure this is Pupitar. Excellent. Don't miss. Super good. This is Alakazam, I think. And this is why we brought Mightyena. It's not gonna work on Crunch, buddy. You might stall me out of Crunch BP here. Be really fucking stupid.
I'd
Okay,
like
this
to
is
hold
perfect.
that
We
just a
definitely
little
talked
longer. I'm hoping for a shortcut.
Okay, we need to track that future side. I think we just leave Mightyena in until it hits and just suck it. That's like almost definitely the best play, unless we really want to get an Intimidate on Arcanine. I think this is checkmate. He's out of floor stores too. See you, Mightyena. Thanks for coming to E4 with us, buddy. And thanks for not roaring me when I've captured you. Go Clops first, I guess, to take the future sight. This doesn't look over to me, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, Cezus. I can still lose to Flamethrower Burn, I think. There's no more forest. There is another forest door, actually. God damn. Oh, baby. To the last second, dude. Do a crit? That was actually a kill, okay. I think I lose to Flamethrower Burn. I think. Maybe even a crit. Come on, skills, 100%. Let's fucking go, dude, finally! Oh my god! Oh my god. What a great game.
Weak to everything? That's impossible. So it's actually stronger when it's split. Where's that edgelord called Calamity God? It's so damn powerful. I'll go ahead and heal this team and then change because this team is way too frail for what I'm doing. I feel like Iya can be replaced by Alma here. You know what? Let me replace Lugobi for Athalid in this team. Two egg droids is kind of overkill, I'd say. But at the same time, Umag is also kind of overkill, huh? Do you even need a dedicated shielder in this team? Who else can I bring instead? I can bring Vale. Even Mayara works. And why not? This puts the team as close as possible to my original main team. Vale works much better in the back, where her summons can be put in front. And the sub-team will have Tekken Almighty, what the fuck? And it actually deals damage. Hits all weaknesses? Excuse me? Yes, please. That sounds fucking amazing. Dun, 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 dun. Need water.
The people of Hyrule have always united to take down an evil threat. But what if they didn't? What if they instead turned against each other? Today, I'll be analyzing the collective strength of each Hyrulean nation's armies and seeing who stacks up and who falls short. We'll be assessing the strength of the average soldier in the army, determining what, if any, X factor they bring to the table, and to top it off, we'll run through a hypothetical simulation of what an all-out civil war between the nations could look like. And I think there's no better place to start than the most militaristic civilization out there, the Gerudo! Oh, but I should mention one more thing. As I started to put this video together, I have to acknowledge the unpredictableness of war, and the almost innumerable variables that can come together to result in one side winning over another. So to try and simplify things for this video, I'll be mainly focusing on the comparison between armies, and less about where battles are fought, defensive capabilities of different villages, and so on. I'm not opposed to covering those things in a future video though, so let me know if there's something specific you'd like to see in the comments. Oh, and this is just a fun hypothetical opinion video. Feel free to disagree with me, but let's keep it light, shall we? So if you're like me, your first thought would have been, the Gerudo have this one, hands down. A sizable portion of their population is devoted to their army, and they are seen training more than anyone else. And most of all, seriously, these ladies will beat you down and throw you out with the trash.
Whoa!
By taking a look
No
at their average
abs!
soldier, you'll see
Short!
a towering physical build, most likely using a spear as a weapon. Some soldiers are also equipped with scimitars or shields. The Gerudo also have a cannon in their arsenal, which can back a powerful punch. The Gerudo army also benefits from a clear organizational structure, which can help keep armies focused on the battlefield. At the top, they have Riju, their leader, serving as commander-in-chief. Next in line is Boliara, who fills the role of general. Then you've got Teak, who is like an NCO, leading her troops on the ground. The Gerudo are also benefited by the fact that they have recent fighting experience working together to deter the Gipto invasion. Then with all of this, they have their X-Factor, Riju. The young leader can command and call down lightning at will, although she has been known to be a bit inaccurate without the help of Link's arrows. So how can anyone defeat such an illustrious army? Well, hang on, as they're not quite as perfect as you might think. Take a second look at that average soldier, and you'll notice that the armor is not as protective as it could be. A well-aimed arrow can easily break the skin, piercing vital organs. Additionally, as a result of their cultural customs, they have primarily trained and fought in the desert, meaning any warfare outside of it can prove difficult for them. And finally, their reclusive nature would also make it difficult for them to form alliances with other nations. And sometimes, even the most skilled soldiers can be overrun by a larger force. So, how many soldiers do the Gerudo have at their disposal? I took account of my own, but we'll come to that as soon as we've finished analyzing the capabilities of all the nations in order to do a more side-by-side comparison. Oh, and before I go on, I should mention that I started a Discord server. I'll give more information on its purpose in the description and on the Discord itself, but basically, I wanted to create a place for people in this community to gather and discuss, whether I'm there or not. I'll remind you about it at the end of the video, so make sure you finish this video. That really helps with the whole algorithm. Then, go check it out. So, the Gerudo are an imposing force to be sure, but what about a common soldier?
Wait,
who
what?
makes it even harder
Evasion
to
up? I
punch?
thought it said
Well, let's go
evasion
further
down.
than the
Am I
impenetrable
actually an
Gorons.
idiot?
The lack of armor would be a liability to other races, but the Goron skin fills that need on its own. The Gorons are also known for their incredible strength, smashing
actually,
entire
that can
boulders
tear-
and mountainsides
that can-
to pieces. Pretty sure there aren't very many people who say they can do that.
I can actually combo that at
across the
Nilo.
ground, thus not only becoming an even harder nut to crack, but capable of moving at fast speeds. A rolling Goron could easily knock a Hylian or other similarly sized creature out of the way. The Goron X Factor comes from Unobo, who has demonstrated both defensive and offensive capabilities. He provides an explosive force that can blow any defensive barricades out of the way. But despite their many advantages, Gorons aren't perfect either. Let's take a moment to focus on their weapons. The Gorons could potentially be capable of mass-producing weapons. Assessing their current output shows that they spend most of their effort making large hammers and pickaxes capable of breaking rocks. To be fair, I wouldn't want to get hit in the head with those either, but it represents a larger concern. The Goron are really not known for their militaristic might. Sure, they can pack a punch, but how organized are they when they are called on to do that? Literally.
Okay, that is a
Or even a volunteer one. Don't get me wrong.
That is an
I think
actually
I'm
good
surviving a blow
combo.
from someone's boulder breaker. The lack of
A
discipline
surprisingly
or
good
training
combo.
could be the factor that keeps the Gorons from winning outright. Also, I suppose I should mention they're currently working through some kind of drug epidemic, but yeah, we'll ignore that for this assessment. But first, let's focus on another group that specializes in spears and wears next to nothing. The Zora. The average Zora soldier wields a
Their
spear
armor.
and is highly adept
They
moving
they
in
wear
water.
more armor
There's
than
also some evidence of Zoras
the
being trained
Gerudo, I'd
soldiers,
say.
as guards are seen posted throughout the domain. In addition to their spears, they also have swords, claymores, and bows, which can help their soldiers face a variety of opponents. And their skilled weapons maker can provide them with what they'll need. They are also fortunate to have a battle-experienced leader, King Dorothin, whose battle against a guardian has been memorialized in the domain. Prince Sidon has also shown to be brave in the face of danger, helping Link to board the Divine Beast in the Breath of the Wild era. Sidon, as well as some other Zora, can also provide healing and defensive abilities to those who are injured or under attack. Not to mention, Sidon's smile can stop anyone in their tracks. Surely something can stop these slippery water warriors, right? Well, one major black eye they'll have to deal with is their weakness to electricity. It wasn't long ago that an electric-wielding Lionel had the entire community worried. Not to mention, it would be difficult for them to thrive in hot or dry environments like Death Mountain or the Gerudo Desert. And of course, you can't look past the lack of armor, which leaves them susceptible to anything pointy. Ouch! We know they're capable of making armor that fits a Hylian though, so who knows? Maybe they could armor up for wartime. Speaking of Hylians though, I say it's high time we take a closer look at Hyrule's ruling nation. The average Hylian, not to be confused with your average Hylian, can be seen wielding all sorts of weapons. Everything from proper swords to whatever they can find lying around. They often carry shields and utilize horses to carry supplies and get from place to place. The Hylians also have their own soldier's armor, which boasts some of the strongest defense in the land. They also control multiple settlements, which provides them with a huge supply of resources to support their army. They also benefit from not having any major weaknesses, like the electricity of the Zora. Oh, and I should probably mention their ultimate weapon. There's this guy named Link, and he's just a tad overpowered. So yeah, that pretty much concludes the video. Link wins. Thanks everybody. Okay, I agree. That's not a very satisfying outcome. So we're just gonna downplay his abilities for this one. Same goes for our light-wielding princess. We'll mainly focus on the army. Speaking of, what is the current state of Hyrule's army? In past eras, Hyrule has been known to have quite the formidable army, but how is it today? Well, if the Monster Control Crew is any indication, Hyrule's army is less of an army and more of a citizen militia. Some members of the squad have less formal training than others, that's for sure. Looking at you, Buckethead. In addition to this, while the Hylians don't have any major weaknesses, they also don't really have any major strengths. Gorons have their power, Zora have their water ability, and Hylians have, style? But in all seriousness, maybe their greatest strength is diplomacy? Because they are known to always have strong ties with our next group, the Sheikah. The Sheikah are something of a wild card to me. The average Sheikah warrior is stealthy and quick with a blade, but also seem to be a bit on the elderly side. But in fairness, that doesn't seem to hold them back. The Sheikah are also proud to have people like Purah and Robbie, who are absolute wizards with technology. With the power of tech on their side, there's almost no limit to what they can do. No doubt they could quickly reverse engineer Zonai devices or even ring up some guardians to throw at their enemies.
Oh, yeah.
Or they could also harness
That
the
was
power of
wacky.
the Purah Pad, which could allow them to teleport freely across Hyrule, taking their enemies by surprise. But the Sheikah aren't invincible, and their numbers appear to be few. We'll get back to those numbers in a moment, but if something took out their tech whizzes, they could be in some real trouble. Who can sneak up on people who are so sneaky themselves? Why, none other than their evil twins, the Yiga! The Yiga are known for their sneak tactics, surprising those loyal to Princess Zelda and swearing allegiance to the Demon King himself. They are led by the charismatic Master Koga, who is a master of the arts. They can also disguise themselves as just about anything they want, even including trees, and are talented archers and swordsmen. And if that's not enough, they've mastered the art of building Zonai vehicles, which gives them a deadly advantage over the less technologically inclined. Despite all their skills, though, they never found a major foothold in Hyrule. They also have an unhealthy obsession with bananas, which can immediately turn the most battle-hardened warrior into a giddy little child. But who knows? Maybe in the right situation, they can get the edge they need to conquer Hyrule.
The Yiga are kind of their own faction, aren't
Every
they?
civilization and give a final verdict. We have to fly over to the Rito. The Rito brings some obvious advantages to the battlefield. The most obvious, of course, being their ability to fly. Being able to quickly soar from point to point while firing arrows down on their enemies is hard to match. The Rito also have multiple weapons beyond that, such as swords and spears. They also have some renowned warriors among their ranks, as well as a dedicated training ground that is used to hone their skills. Not to mention, Teba can also create an exemplary bow for use in combat. Despite their advantages, though, the Rito also have their downsides. They too are victim to a lack of armor. If they lose their ability to fly, such as through injury,
They really
they'll have
can't
trouble
wield
outrunning an
armor
incoming enemy.
if they won't be
Obtaining
able to
supplies
fly.
has also been an issue for them. Even after the Great Blizzard had subsided, they still had to be laser focused on ensuring they had enough supplies to sustain their population. But that's enough analysis. Even the most skilled warriors could fall under the weight of a less experienced, but larger army. So how big of an army does each nation actually have? Your average Hylian's army is currently at around 25,000, but we're always looking for more recruits. So if you're liking this video, or any video I've made, and still haven't subscribed, come on man, click that thing. It's not gonna
Man,
bite you.
look at these
We're just trying to
stats.
have a good time here and want you to be a part of it.
Throws is almost at
Well, I could have
99
walked into
tech.
every corner of Hyrule, taking
That's
a census
super
of how many
wacky.
people belong to every nation. I just don't have the time. I'll leave that one to
Obviously,
Annie
the
Austin.
Zodiacs
What I
have
do
really
have,
powerful
though,
skills,
is this unofficial census that has tracked everything to exist in Hyrule.
but she
By
also
inserting
just
the code
deals so much
NPC,
damage, period.
whatever that stands
But she
for,
also
I
just
can
has
get
so
an
much,
idea of how many people
such
belong
good
to each
stats.
nation using their descriptors. Then, by using this other piece of unofficial Breath of the Wild era census data supplied by Tesla Darby on Reddit, I can get a close idea of how many members of each population are either children or seniors. We want to focus on the number of military-age citizens, which would be classified as adults. I would note, though, that most of the Sheikah seniors are still military age by their standards, so I included them in their army count. So without further ado, here's roughly how many adults are in every nation, going from the smallest to the largest. Let me know if these numbers are what you thought, or if you were surprised. Our smallest nation is the Sheikah at 11. Next is the Rito with 21, followed by the Zora at 27. The Goron are much larger at 34. Then we see a little bit of a jump with the Yiga coming in with 72.
Holy
then
shit.
there's another jump for the Gerudo at 82. Then of course, the Hylians boast the largest manpower,
I
coming
don't
in at
think the
257
NPCs
military-age
and
citizens strong. So the question
the
that
world
becomes,
are an
is
accurate
manpower alone
representation of the
determining
numbers
factor
of people
in deciding
actually
who
in
wins the
the...
war for Hyrule domination? Do we just hand it over to the Hylians and call it a day? I don't think so. Even though the Hylians are dominant in numbers, I think we have to consider some of the factors at play here. So like I said, there are so many ways that Civil War could go, but let me present one possible take on it. As news of a civil war reaches each corner of a once united Hyrule, the Sheikah are quick to make the first move, but theirs is a defensive one. The Sheikah make contact with the Hylians, and the two form a quick alliance, as they have done during conflicts over the past thousands of years. The Sheikah agree to share their technology and weapons in return for the protection, supplies, and building expertise of the Hylians. Over to the west, the Gerudo and Rito meet in combat. The Gerudo boast about 4 times as many soldiers as the Rito, but the Rito are able to make quick work of the Gerudo frontline soldiers, hitting the gaps in their armor with arrows from above. Gerudo numbers are ultimately too much though, and manage to snipe the Rito out of the sky with their Gerudo bows. The Rito, who aren't killed instantly, land, but aren't able to outrun the charging Gerudo, who ultimately defeat the last of them. In
What?
the northeast, the Hylian and Sheikah alliance is facing a test of its own.
I mean, the
Zora
Golden
have launched
Bows
a
do
lightning
have the
offensive
sniping
on the
feature, I
isolated
guess.
Hylian Terrytown territory, hoping to quickly cut them off from the main Hylian army. The small village militia, made up of the town's bravest citizens, are no match for the trained spears of the speedy Zora, who maximize their aquatic advantage to decimate the waterlogged town. A little to the west, the Gorons have also zeroed in on the Hylian Sheikah alliance, but aren't facing a pocket of isolated Hylians, They're facing the core army, which is backed by the Sheikah. The unorganized Korons roll themselves forward, bowling Hylian defenders out of the way and swatting them aside in droves with their swinging combo crushers. Yunobo in particular is making great progress as he blows up squads of Hylians like an anthropomorphic bomb. The Korons cheer as they see the Hylians begin to retreat, but the cheering quickly ends as they realize the Sheikah have lined up their latest weapon. By repurposing their Skyview tower technology to launch explosives, wave after wave of bombs begin to rain down on the legion of Korons, smashing them to bits like any bomb flower would do to a cracked wall. As the dust clears, only an energy-shielded Yunobo remains. He quickly retreats back to the heat of Death Mountain, defeated and alone. Back to the west, the Gerudo are preparing to begin an assault of their own on the Hylians when they catch sight of a flying machine streaking through the blue sky. Is this some kind of new Sheikah weapon? In a moment, they have their answer. They hear a short chuckle, and suddenly a handful of their soldiers drop as Yiga warriors have teleported in behind their lines and struck them down. The flying machines are Zonai devices, commandeered by the Yiga. Will the Yiga have caught the Gerudo by surprise? The Yiga are a known enemy. The Gerudo soldiers were prepared for this moment, and they begin to quickly empty bananas out of their inventories. The Yiga assault grinds to a halt as they are distracted by their favorite treat, and the Gerudo use the window to make quick work of the foe, eliminating them. Soon,
That's hilarious, but totally
he crushes himself under a
could
swift
happen.
conjuring of his own making. Over in the Hylian territory, the Zora have emerged from the rivers as they engage the Hylians on solid ground. The fight isn't as one-sided as the Battle of Terrytown, now that the Zora are forced to fight outside of the water. However, the Zora spears are gaining the upper hand, especially with injured Zoras getting healed by Sidon and others, allowing them to rejoin the fight. Should the fight continue as is, the Zora will surely be able to grind out the victory. But suddenly, there is a flash of lightning and crash of thunder as Riju and the Gerudo arrive to join the fight. Hylians are knocked aside, but the Zoras begin to suffer devastating losses.
Some sort of boss
Riju's
arena.
lack of accuracy doesn't matter here, as hitting the water filled with Zora makes for a massive blast radius. The Zora are no match against an electric opponent.
I don't think that's
They
everything.
try to retreat, but Riju's lightning is too much, and they are forced to surrender. The final battle is set. The Hylians have suffered major casualties, but the Gerudo will still have to overcome the technological might of the Sheikah. Riju begins the assault by conjuring her lightning, but it gets cancelled out by the light abilities of Zelda, and Riju isn't able to accurately hit the landlocked Hylians without the help of Link's arrows. It looks like this one will come down to the two armies going head-to-head. Despite their numbers advantage, the Hylians begin to fall quickly to the experienced Gerudo soldiers. Their only hope is that they can keep